Next topic is accounts of companies. So in this lecture we are going to complete the revision of accounts of companies. Starting from section 128 to 138, 10 sections, weightage of 6 marks, minimum 6 marks, you will get minimum weightage of 6 marks. So okay, section 128. Before proceeding to section 128, you need to know the difference between books of accounts, books and papers and financial statements. Every person assumes that books of accounts, books of paper is same, books of accounts includes financial statements. So let me explain the difference between books of accounts, books of paper and financial statements. If you take books of accounts, only four registers are treated as books of accounts. They are receipts and payments, sales and purchases, assets and liabilities and items of the cost. That means cost records. So not every company is required to maintain items of cost, and only those companies which are for which cost audit is applicable, or for which section 148 maintenance of cost records and cost audit applicable, for them only cost items of cost will be there. Simply saying, so manufacturing industries are the industries specified under section 148 which are liable to maintain, or which are responsible to maintain cost records, they need to maintain this fourth item. So generally for all the companies, first three items will be there: receipts and payments, sales and purchases, assets and liabilities. So cash in, cash flow, cash in out, cash in, cash out, sales income, purchases expenses, assets, liabilities. Okay, Nandi. Next one, books or paper, it includes books of accounts. So it includes financial records as well as non-financial records, minutes to be maintained at general meeting, deeds, partnership deeds, any agreements entered by the company with outsiders, vouchers, statutory registers, so GST registers, okay, import exports registers, so statutory registers. So books or paper, it includes financial records as well as non-financial records. Okay, na? But coming to financial statements, only 5 components will be treated as financial statements. That is balance sheet, statement of affairs, profit and loss account, statement showing profits and losses, cash flow statement, statement showing cash flows during the year, statement of changes in equity, that means any change in the ownership funds, yes, it will be known from here, and the next one is explanatory statement, so notes to accounts, simply notes to accounts. Next one, public document. Financial statements are also treated, financial statements are public documents. It can be seen by both members as well as non-members, both members and non-members. Coming to books of accounts, books of paper, no outsiders are not having any access to the books of accounts and books of papers. And is it clear, everyone? So books of accounts, one topic, books of paper and financial statements. Now let's begin our discussion. So 128, books of accounts to be kept by the company. So company shall maintain proper books of accounts. Sir, one company is maintaining proper books of accounts, sir, it need to satisfy 3 conditions. One is true and fair view, accrual system, double entry system. That means you have to, your books of accounts must exhibit true and fair view. So what is happening, that should be recorded. So what should have happened? So don't imagine and write books of accounts, and don't imagine and keep books of accounts. Just what happened, you just keep books of accounts. Sir, why it is not true and correct view, sir? Why it is true and fair view? Because our books of accounts contain maximum actual figures and some estimates. So books of accounts, financial statements, it will not contain actual figures only. It will contain both actual figures and estimates. For example, sales, it is an actual figure. Closing stock, NRV or cost, whichever is lower. So cost you can know, but NRV, that means estimate, net realizable value. So if we sell these goods in the market, what would be the sale consideration? How much amount we can realize? Okay, less expenses to be incurred for selling these items. We call it as NRV. So this is an estimate. Next one, fixed assets, cost, actual figure. Depreciation, estimate. Debtors, original value of the debtors is actual figure, but provision for bad debts, estimate. So if you take financial statements or if you take books of accounts, some of the figures will be actual figures and some of the figures will be estimates. So the estimates, based on our previous experience with the company, with the organization, we will fix the amount. So that's the reason we are not telling financial statements express true and correct. Suppose if I keep provision for bad debts 50 lakhs, It doesn't mean next year only 50 lakhs worth of debtors will get insolvent. Only 50 lakhs I am going to lose. It's not like that. I may incur more than 50 lakhs, or I may not incur any bad debts Sunday. So that's the reason fairly we are preparing these financial statements in a fair manner. So true and fair view. Yes, then you should maintain the vouchers that should explain the transactions entered into by the company. Simply, yes, asset purchase entry, it should not be like that. There should be a supporting document like purchase invoice of the asset. Next one, it is maintained on accrual basis. That means you have to record when the amount is realized or when the amount is accrued, when the amount is accrued. And you have to record the expense the moment you incurred, but not at the time of payment. So once the expenditure you incurred, you have to record it. Once the sale income was done, then you have to record that income. So realization is immaterial. And books of accounts should be kept in a double entry system. That means you have to record both the aspects of the transaction. In a transaction, there will be debit aspect as well as credit aspect. So both debit and credit aspects are to be recorded. Is it clear? Next one, sir, can we maintain books of accounts in an electronic mode? Yes, you can maintain books of accounts in electronic mode, but you have to satisfy these conditions. Those books of accounts should be accessible in India. That means, suppose if you are maintaining books of accounts in a software called SAP or Tally, Oracle, Java, something. So they should be accessible in India. So if you enter user ID and password in India, you should have access to these books of accounts. And for example, simple example, PUBG was banned all over in India. Now if you log in into the PUBG account from Indian server, you will not get the account. So yes, it will be banned like that. Some message, some pop-up will be displayed. Like that, accessing books of accounts should not be done. So if you are accessing books of accounts from India, there should be access and there should not be any pop-up like yes, access denied. It should not be like that. Okay. Next one, format in which originally generated, sent or received. Suppose if I am entering, I am recording a journal entry. Furniture account debit to bank account 10,000 rupees. Now furniture was debited, bank account was credited with 10,000 rupees. Now subsequently, if I want to view the transaction, in which manner I entered the transaction, in the same manner it should be generated and with same figures. Information received from branches not to be altered. Suppose I am having branches all over India. Every branch is maintaining books of accounts electronically. Now those books of accounts should not be altered by the head office. Next one, in a legible form, in an understandable form. Simply, suppose I am entering data in English format, but display was happening in China format, China language. So it is not correct. It is not at all correct. Next one, storage display retrieval. So storage display retrieval. So there should be a storage capacity. The moment I am entering the transaction, yes, today it will be displayed, tomorrow it will be deleted. No, it should not be like that. It must have storage capacity. Whenever I want to access the information should be displayed, and there should be a retrieval capacity also. After 1 month or after 1 year, if I want to access the previous records, there should be retrieval capacity. Next one, backup in the servers. You have to maintain backup also, and the backup should be maintained separately. That backup should be taken periodically, and that backup should be maintained separately at one place. So 128, books of accounts should be kept by the company. Just now we completed it. And books of accounts means 4. Receipts and payments, assets and liabilities, sales and purchases, and items related to the cost. So applicability is for every company, including a one-person company, including dormant company. There is no restriction on the company. There is no exemption to the company. Every company, government company, or one-person company, producer company, nidhi company, etc., listed, unlisted, private, public, etc. Every company is required to maintain, is required to prepare and keep at its registered office or at other place in India. Next one, books of account and other related books and papers and financial statements for every year. So simply this provision speaks about the applicability of books of accounts and financial statements. It is applicable to every company and place where we need to maintain, sir, at registered office or at any other place in India, which was decided by board of directors by passing a board resolution. Within 7 days of board resolution, you have to communicate with ROC. ROC, I am keeping books of accounts at some other place. Interesting point is no need of members approval. The reason is members are not entitled to inspect books of accounts. Members are not entitled to extract the copies of books of accounts. So board resolution is sufficient for shifting the books of accounts from registered office to some other place, but you have to communicate it with ROC. This is section 128. Time limit for preservation of books of accounts. Sir, how long I should maintain books of accounts? Sir, you have to maintain books of accounts related to last 8 financial years, or simply this year books of accounts you need to maintain next 8 years. Whatever it is, the meaning is same. You have to maintain current year financial statements, books of accounts for the next 8 years, or you have to maintain last 8 years books of accounts financial statements. Both are one and the same. Both the effect of both these statements are same. Effect, I am talking about effect. Suppose if a company had been in existence for a period less than 8 years, then maintain books of accounts for all the preceding financial years. Suppose company was incorporated in the year 2015. So now, yes, it was complete. It has completed 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20. Only some 5 years was completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So preceding 5 years, you have to maintain books of accounts and financial statements. So if central government ordered for investigation, and if central government says that a company, for you 8 years restriction is not applicable, for you 12 years you have to maintain books of accounts related to preceding 12 years, then you have to maintain books of accounts for the extended period also. Simply I am telling, the statutory period is 8 years. You have to maintain books of accounts related to the preceding 8 financial years. But if central government orders you have to maintain financial statements, books of accounts for 12 years, then yes, I'll maintain current year books of accounts and financial statements for the next 12 years. 128, penalty for non-compliance. So many points we discussed. Applicability, what type of registers you have to maintain, where you need to register, how long you need to register, okay now, and your books of accounts should exhibit true and fair view, maintained according to double entry system, okay now. So all these points I discussed, all these rules and regulations. If any non-compliance of these rules and regulations, then these persons, managing director or whole-time director in finance or CEO or any person of a company charged by the board, CFO, chief financial officer, or any person of a company charged by board of directors regarding maintenance of books of accounts, those people are personally liable. Those people are personally liable for imprisonment up to 1 year or fine 50,000 to 5 lakhs or both. So whenever I am saying the word fine, yes, it is something which will be levied by only court or National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT. Is it clear, everyone? So penalty for non-compliance, person responsible, and what is the punishment? Person responsible and punishment. So with this section 128 completed, Amma. Even if you look into the material also, yes, question number 1 completed. Inspection of books of accounts. This point I need to discuss with you. 1 completed, and inspection of books of accounts. Sir, who can inspect books of accounts, sir? Only directors. Only directors. See, the books of accounts and books and papers maintained by the company within India shall be open for inspection at the registered office or at such other place in India as decided by board of directors by passing board resolution by any director of the company during business hours. Such inspection can be done by any type of a director. So, he might be nominee executive director, non-executive director. Executive means who works for the company. Non-executive means he will check only statutory compliances. So, non-executive director like independent director, he will check the compliances with respect to various laws. Coming to executive directors, for example, managing director, they will participate in day-to-day affairs of the company. So, executive or non-executive, yes, they can do inspection, and inspection of any subsidiary of the company shall be done only by the person authorized by the board resolution. Sir, what is the need of inspecting subsidiary financial statements, books of accounts? Because accounting policies. What type of accounting policies they have been following? Because while preparing consolidated financial statements, there should be consistency in the accounting policies followed by the head office, holding company and subsidiary company, and these accounting policies should be in matching. Suppose subsidiary company is following a straight line method of depreciation, and holding company is following WDV method of depreciation. Then holding company is required to convert subsidiary financial statements according to WDV depreciation. So for that, for the purpose of consolidation of financial statements, if holding company wants to inspect subsidiary company books of accounts, then holding company may authorize any person by board resolution. Next one, books of accounts demanded by director himself and not by his power of attorney, holder or agent or representative. So who can inspect books of accounts? Only directors. Directors can't delegate that authority to some other people. They can't delegate authority to some other people. The only reason why this many restrictions are kept on books of accounts, because confidentiality. If a competitor come to our company and if he inspect our books of accounts, then easily he can copy the all trade secrets. That's the reason. So books of accounts are not available to members or outsiders for inspection. Next one. Inspection of financial statements. I'll discuss it a little bit later. Now come back to financial statements, Amma. Financial statements. Seema, financial statements. Yes, financial statements are of two types, Andy. One is standalone financial statements or own financial statements. For example, TCS is a subsidiary to Tata Sons Private Limited. Tata Sons Private Limited. TCS is a subsidiary to Tata Sons Private Limited. So now TCS is required to prepare a financial statements, and Tata Sons is required to prepare a standalone financial statements. Yes, ma, standalone financial statements. Standalone financial statements and consolidation financial statements. So now listen carefully. So own financial statements. Sir, while preparing financial statements, you have to remember three rules. That is FAT. Form Schedule 3. All the companies incorporated under Companies Act 2013, they need to comply FAT rules. Form Schedule 3, accounting standards issued by ICAI. And one more update is Indian accounting standards. It's not IAS, Indian Administrative Services. IND-AS, Indian accounting standards, as prescribed by the central government from time to time. So far ICAI has prescribed the Indian accounting standards, and so IND-AS. So for those companies which are applicable, for the companies which are responsible to prepare financial statements as per IND-AS, then IND-AS. Finally, those financial statements should express true and fair view. Of course, these FAT rules are not applicable to three companies. What are those companies? Are big companies. So B for banking companies, I for insurance companies, G for generation or supply of electricity. So FAT not applicable to big banking, insurance, generation or supply of electricity, because banking companies, they will prepare financial statements according to their respective schedules and the respective schedules. Next one, insurance companies will prepare financial statements according to IRDA. Next, generation or supply of electricity, yes, Electricity Companies Act. So financial statements prescribed under respective acts, they need to follow those forms, and so form Schedule 3 is not applicable to them. Accounting standards are not applicable to these two. So obviously, as per Companies Act 2013, true and fair view will be different, and financial statements prepared according to the Banking Regulation Act, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, and Electricity Companies Act, they will be different. So these rules are not applicable to me. So yes, the financial statements of banking companies, insurance companies, and generation or electricity, supply of electricity companies will express true and fair view, provided if they prepare financial statements in accordance to the respective acts. Is it clear? Next one, consolidated financial statements. So consolidated financial statements, it is applicable only if the company is having one or more subsidiary companies. So here subsidiary includes associate, and subsidiary plus associate. If company is having a subsidiary and associate, then associate company financial statements are also to be consolidated with the holding company. And of course, these they should be prepared in accordance with Schedule 3 or accounting standards. One more important point, at every AGM, Board of Directors shall lay before the company not only standalone financial statements or own financial statements, but also consolidated financial statements. So let us look into the book. And so question number 3. So inspection of financial statements, allowed us or allowed? Who can inspect financial statements? Any person, even members. Non-members can also inspect financial statements, and yes, non-members can also inspect financial statements. Look into the point. Every company shall be under an obligation to allow every member or trustee of the holder of any debentures. So student, every member of the company, trustee, maybe debenture trustee or depositor trustee of any debentures issued by the company, to inspect the financial statements, and documents to be attached thereto stated under subsection 1 at its registered office during business hours. So place of maintenance of financial statements, registered office, inspection of financial statements, registered office during business hours. And what are the components of financial statements? I already said: balance sheet, profit and loss account, cash flow statement, explanatory statement, and statement showing changes in equity. In case of listed companies, listen, in case of listed companies, copies of documents shall be available for inspection at its registered office during working hours for a period of 21 days before the date of meeting. So at least 21 days before the date of meeting. So these financial statements, which companies? Listed companies, is bound to open for inspection. Company may send salient features of financial statements, because financial statements, annual report, board report together, it may go around some 300 pages. So it is not possible for the company to print all these documents and circulate among members of the company. So they can prepare abridged financial statements. So that means financial statements but which contain material data. So yes, salient features of financial statements to members and debenture trustees in prescribed form. Next one, how long books of accounts have to be preserved? I already said 8 years. If the period of existence is less than 8 years, then you have to maintain books of accounts for all the preceding years. Next one, if central government orders to you, you have to maintain books of accounts for a longer period, then you have to maintain books of accounts for longer period. Next one, 5 already completed. Responsibility of maintaining books of accounts. So these are the people: managing director, whole-time director, CFO, or any person of a company charged by the board of directors. Punishment we already discussed. So next one, financial statements components. However, cash flow statements is not applicable to these 4 companies. Cash flow statement. So 1% company, small company, dormant company, and private companies. Such private company is a startup. Sir, Section 8 company, is it required to prepare cash flow statement? Yes. Section 8 company is required to prepare financial statements which contain cash flow statement, because Section 8 company is not covered here. Even if you say, sir, Section 8 company, its capital was 1 lakh, turnover was 10 lakhs, sir, so can it be small company? No. Small company definition is very clear. Small company excludes Section 8 company. So financial statement should be prepared for the financial year and shall be in form as per Schedule 3. Already discussed. Next one, financial statements, legal requirements. We completed it. True and fair view, accounting standards. An important note point, and suppose you are unable to comply accounting standards. For example, there should be consistency in application of accounting policies. 1 year you applied SLM depreciation, the next year you want to change it to WDV. So if you are violating any accounting policy like consistency, then you need to report these points, and so deviation, because of shifting from SLM to WDV, or you are an organization for which WDV depreciation is applicable, or most suitable depreciation is WDV method, depreciation method is WDV. So in that case, if you are shifting from WDV to SLM, then you have to report the deviation, impact on the financial statements about the deviation, reasons for such deviation. Or else, for example, AS2, cost inventory accounting of inventories. So it clearly states that cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Your cost was 95 lakhs, NRV was 80 lakhs, so whichever is lower, you have to consider 80 lakhs. But you are displaying the financial statements closing stock as 95 lakhs. You are displaying the financial statements, you are displaying it 95 lakhs. 95 lakhs. So that means you are deviating AS2, deviation from accounting standards, AS2. A reason for deviation: sir, the fall in price is just temporary. Within next 1 week, definitely the price gets increased. So any reason. So yes, the reasons for such deviation, financial effects. Yes, 15 lakhs of the profit was overvalued. 15 lakhs profit was increased by 15 lakhs. If I show 80 lakhs as the closing stock, my profit will be some 80 lakhs. So for example, my profit will be 1 crore. But because of displaying closing stock at 95 lakhs, my profit went to 1 crore 15 lakhs. So 15 lakhs is the net effect because of change in accounting, deviation in accounting standards. So next one, Schedule 3. If company has 1 or more subsidiaries, then you have to prepare CFS in such form and manner as that of its own. That means holding company is following form Schedule 3, and accounting standards. For example, accounting standards coming to the fixed assets valuation. So the depreciation, they are following WDV and WDV. Now subsidiary company is also required to, subsidiary company, when you are preparing consolidated financial statements, so which means H plus S, holding plus subsidiary company. Now you have to prepare the CFS in the same manner, in the manner which you prepared holding company financial statements, in the same manner in which you prepared consolidated holding company financial statements. So next one, the provisions relating to the preparation and adoption and audit of financial statements of audit companies shall mutatis and mutandis apply to consolidated financial statements. So what are all the provisions relating to the audit of standalone financial statements, circulation of standalone financial statements, placing standalone financial statements before members in the general meeting, auditing standalone financial statements? Same rules and regulations are also applicable to consolidated financial statements. So already I said non-applicability of accounting schedule 3 to banking companies, insurance companies, and companies engaged in generation or supply of the electricity. So very simple chapter, and very simple chapter, but it is lengthy. Very simple chapter, but it is very lengthy. So any other class of companies for which a form of financial statements has been specified in under the act governing such class of companies. So already 3 companies were prescribed. 4th company in future, this company get maybe prescribed. And so next one, box is very simple, and insurance companies IRDA, banking companies Banking Regulation Act, Electricity Act 2003, company governed by any other law, matters which are not required to be disclosed by that law. Laying of financial statements, section 129 subsection 2. So at every AGM of a company, the board of directors of the company shall lay the following documents. First one is financial statements of the company. Second one, consolidated financial statements including its subsidiary financial statements. Exemption. So CG may exempt in complying these FAT rules, form schedule 3 accounting standards 2 and 5 view consolidation, provided that exemption was given in the public interest. For example, one government company is there. For example, it is a pharma company. All trade secrets they have to maintain confidential, and the financial statements contains those points also. Disclosure of key accounting policies. If such disclosure is happen to the rival concerns or competitors, then definitely it will affect the company's going concern. In that case, central government may grant exemption regarding non-compliance of for procedures, rules and regulations, but that exemption will be granted if it is in of public interest, with or without conditions, and own or on application by the classes of companies. For example, financial year, the word financial year means it starts with 1st April 2020, for example this year, to 31st March 2021. So there is a company in Andhra Pradesh, and Kia Motors India Private Limited, Kia Motors. For this there is a parent company Kia, which is outside India, but the parent company is outside India only. So this is holding company and this is a subsidiary company. Holding company will prepare financial statements from Jan to December, and subsidiary companies in India, they need to prepare financial statements from April to March. So that means the Kia parent company, it can't prepare consolidated financial statements because Jan to December is one year different from April to March. In this case, Kia Motors India Private Limited, Indian company, may approach central government. They may ask permission, sir, my holding company, it is difficult for my holding company to prepare consolidated financial statements. So I'll follow the accounting financial year which is different from the existing situation. So I'll follow the accounting year as January to December. Now you know, if it is in the interest of the public, that means if Kia Motors, if central government did not permit Kia Motors India Private Limited to prepare financial statements according to their will, then they will stop investing in the India. If they stop investments in India, definitely industry growth will be zero, and unemployment will get increased. There will be no employment opportunities, and unemployment gets reduced. So that is the situation. In the interest of the public, whether with or without conditions, on the application filed by the company, it may grant relaxation. Next one, question number 8. Just now I discussed financial year. Financial year is a year which ends with 31st March 31st March of every year. So this financial year definition was very much explained in a detailed manner in your general meetings. Yes, just listen in general meetings. Sorry, you just go back to the general meeting and revise it. Next one, procedure for exemption. Already said, no, application to be made to the subsidiary company. Its holding or subsidiary or associate company is outside India, and for the purpose of consolidation the company is required to follow a different financial year. Then it will file application with CG. CG will grant exemption either with or without conditions. Next one, consolidation of accounts. Provisions of Companies Act 2013 relating to consolidation of accounts. If a company has one or more subsidiaries or associate companies, that it shall prepare a consolidated financial statement of the company and of all the subsidiaries and associate companies, and it is mandatory for each and every company, whether it is a private, public, one person company or a foreign company or anything. So now the point here is in which manner the CFS will be done, sir? Consolidation of accounts. What is the manner for consolidation of financial statement? Consolidation of the accounts will be done in the same manner in which holding company financial statements were prepared. In the same manner, holding company consolidated financial statements will also be prepared. Just look into the, watch the screen and CFS are prepared in the same form and manner as that of its own and in accordance with the applicable accounting standards. CFS shall be laid before the AGM of the company along with the laying of its own financial statements. So already I discussed, see ma, in the same manner. So simply some 1 or 2 pages to information was placed in a single slide, and you can go through this slide. Next one, the company shall also attach its financial statements, a separate finance statement containing the salient features of the financial statements of its subsidiary or subsidiaries in form AOC1, Accounts of Companies Form 1. So whenever you are sending notice calling for general meeting, for annual general meeting, there you need to circulate company financial statements. Not only company financial statements but also consolidated financial statements. Not only consolidated financial statements but subsidiary or subsidiaries financial statements, but not each and every document, and so those financial statements, subsidiary financial statements, will be prepared in a short form and in an abridged manner. Next one, the consolidation of financial statements of the company shall be made in accordance with the provisions of Schedule 3 of the Act and applicable accounting standards. If the company is not required to prepare CFS as per AS, then CFS shall be made in accordance with Schedule 3. Okay, na? Suppose yes, as per accounting standards, if you read AS 21, AS 23, 22 or AS 27, so there will also be the consolidation. So applicability of consolidated financial statements will be prescribed under the accounting standards. Suppose, sir, I am not satisfying that criteria, but I want to prepare consolidated financial statements. Then simply follow accounting standards. No, just Schedule 3. So in what manner Schedule 3 financial statements will be prepared? In the same manner, Schedule 3 consolidated financial statements should be prepared. If accounting standards are applicable for such consolidation, then follow them, or else follow Schedule 3. Next one, exemptions from preparation of consolidated financial statements. See, this is very key point, and many students will get doubt on this point. Now listen carefully. See, look into the diagram once. I'll explain. Just look into the diagram once. So yes ma, holding company, subsidiary company. So you can see here holding company, subsidiary. Definitely, if company is having subsidiary company, it is required to prepare consolidated financial statements. So C Limited is required to prepare consolidated financial statements. C Limited is required to prepare CFS, but for C Limited, one time exemption will be granted. So no need to prepare consolidated financial statements if the 3 conditions are satisfied. Sir, what are those 3 conditions, sir? See, this C Limited, in this C Limited, there should be no public interest. That means it is not a listed company, or it is not in the process of listing. So it should not be listed or in the process of listing. Suppose if it is a listed company, no exemption from preparing consolidated financial statements. It has to prepare consolidated financial statements. Second condition, the company C Limited's ultimate holding company, H Limited, should prepare consolidated financial statements by including the figures of C Limited as well as S Limited. So H Limited should prepare consolidated financial statements including the figures of H, C, yes. And finally, next point is the C Limited should obtain written consent from all its members. So 65% of 60% of the capital was H Limited. So H Limited will give 60% consent, and the remaining members they need to give balance 40% consent. So if these things happen, if these three conditions are satisfied, I am telling one more time, if these three conditions are satisfied, in that case C Limited is exempted from preparing the consolidated financial statements. C Limited is exempted from preparing consolidated financial statements. Sir, by granting this exemption, what a company can achieve? Simply, company's reporting responsibility gets reduced. The reporting responsibilities of company gets reduced. That is the only benefit we can grant. That's it, and nothing more than that. So if all these, what are those three conditions? And our company which needs exemption from preparing consolidated financial statements need to obtain approval from all its members in written. Next one, the ultimate holding company or its holding company should prepare consolidated financial statements including the figures of its subsidiary, and it should not be a listed company or in the process of listing. So even if you read entire all these conditions in this point, if you read these three conditions, you will get that point only. I'm not going to read it because I'm revising it. So either wholly owned or partially owned. I took example of partially owned. Next one, question number 10. Write a short note on responsibility for preparing financial statements. So same people, amma, same people which you people read under section 128, same people. So managing director, whole-time director, CFO or any other person of the company charged by the board, and if all the directors, E point is an extra point, all the directors in the absence of above mentioned officers, in this case, the punishment, these people are responsible for maintaining preparation of financial statements. If they do any mistakes, then imprisonment up to 1 year, fine minimum 50,000, it may extend up to 5 lakhs, and both. So same penalty which we have read under section 128, same penalty for 129 also. So 128 is similar to 129. Next topic, reopening of accounts on court's order. Reopening of accounts on court order. Or revision of financial statements. Reopening or revision of financial statements. One is compulsory, one is voluntary. One is compulsory, one is voluntary. Sir, when one can say compulsory? When there is an order. When there is an order regarding compliance of it, then only it is compulsory. Voluntary means at your own discretion. So if you take compulsory revision of financial statements, so if an application was filed by, that means unless application is filed by, so I am telling in a positive manner, if application is filed by central government or income tax authorities or SEBI or any other statutory regulatory authority body like FEMA, okay, FEMA also, and it is also statutory body. See, statutory bodies are nothing but SEBI, FEMA, these are the statutory bodies, and RBI, okay now. So if they file an application with court or tribunal, if there is no concept of tribunal, so when Companies Act 2013 came into force, there is no concept called NCLT. Just in a book only there is NCLT, but now the NCLT was constituted. So if there is NCLT, go to NCLT. If NCLT was not constituted, then go to court. The meaning is like that, and the meaning is like that. So unless application is filed by central government, income tax authorities, SEBI is statutory body. So NCLT will not allow the company for revision of financial statements. So if they file petition, suppose, sir, why they will file an application with NCLT? See, the company financial statements were prepared in a fraudulent manner, or the company affairs were mismanaged. Only in two reasons they will file an application. And in what type of reasons are ante? Financial statements are prepared in a fraudulent manner. Financial statements are prepared in a fraudulent manner, or affairs of the company are mismanaged. If these are the reasons, definitely either CG or IT authorities or SEBI or statutory body, they will file an application with tribunal. Now tribunal will give permission for reopening of the accounts. Sir, what is meant by reopening of the accounts, sir? Once you finalize the financial statements, once members passed a resolution regarding adoption of financial statements, the financial statements gets freezed. The financial statements gets freezed. So no alteration can be done to the freezed financial statements. So okay, so ITA department, CG, SEBI, statutory authority or any person concerned. Okay, Nandi. So an order by a court or competent authority will be prepared. So ఇప్పుడు సార్ అంటే relevant accounts are prepared in a fraudulent manner or affairs are mismanaged, casting a doubt on the reliability of financial statements. So now before passing an order, tribunal shall take into the considerations of the representations by CG these people. So whatever the representations made by these 4 people, NCLT will consider all those representations, and finally it will give an order. But one point to be noted, any authority can reopen the financial statements of the company related to last or related to preceding 8 financial years only, but not beyond it. So because Companies Act is telling that you have to maintain a books of accounts related to preceding 8 years. Then how can you revise books of accounts related to some 8 years back, and it is not possible. That is not at all possible. Is it clear, Andy? Everyone? Okay. Next one. So the accounts so revised or recast under the provisions shall be the final. Next, reopening of books of accounts relating to a period not earlier than 8 financial years immediately preceding the current financial year can be ordered by the tribunal. That's what I said. But if there is a direction from CG earlier, so CG asked the company maintain books of accounts for a period of 10 years, for a period of 12 years. If such direction was given by the government, central government to company, in that case, the company's financial statements can be revised related to last or related to preceding 10 financial years. Is it clear? Next one. Yes, there is an option to the board of directors also to revise the financial statements, Andy. But board of directors should specify the reason why they want to revise the financial statements. They specify the reason, and if NCLT is also okay with the reason, then NCLT permits the company to revise its financial statements. So what would be the reason, sir? See, ma'am. First reason, financial statements or board report are not complying with the provisions of section 129 or 134. So the financial statements and board reports are not prepared according to financial statements section 129, board report according to section 134. So if there is non-compliance regarding these 2 sections, then board of directors can revise these statements voluntarily. But before revising, they need to file an application with tribunal. So here the picture will be like this, Andy. Here the picture will be like this. Board of directors, they will file an application with NCLT stating that, sir, we are of opinion that 129 and 134 were not complied. NCLT, before passing an order, NCLT will forward this application to central government, to ROC. Verify whether ROC and IT authority or any other statutory body. So one company is requesting for revision of financial statements. So if you have any objection, you can also consider them, you can also verify them. So like that, application will be forwarded by NCLT to these 4 departments: CG, ROC, income tax authorities and any statutory body. SB means statutory body. So now all the representations by these departments will also be considered by NCLT, and NCLT will finally allow the company to revise its financial statements or board report. Okay, Nandi. So remember one point, financial statements and board report can be revised only once in a year. You can revise financial statement only one time, Andy, and such revision will happen only to the financial statements related to preceding 3 years only. Okay, na? So the revised financial statements or revised board reports shall not be prepared more than once in a financial year. And you know, whenever you are making the changes, you have to write the reasons why such revision happened, and these reasons should be incorporated in current year annual report, current year board report and current year financial statements also. So okay andi, why such revision is being made? So yes, this point. So okay, no problem, I'll come from first point onwards. Yeah, so the section is applicable whether when non-compliance of 129 and 134. Second one, you can go up to preceding 3 financial years only, but not beyond it. So compulsory revision, it might extend up to 8 years, whereas voluntary revision, it will extend up to 3 years only. Next one, the revision, before revision of financial statements, yes, application to be filed with whom? With tribunal, and tribunal will forward the same to these departments. And next one, copy of order passed by tribunal shall be filed with ROC. Next one, revised financial statements, revised board report shall not be prepared once in a year, and the reasons for revision should be incorporated. Finally, where copies of previous financial statements or report have been sent out to the members or delivered to the registrar or laid before the general meeting, the reasons must be confined to, I already said, reasons should be related to correction in accordance of section 129 and 134. And what consequential alteration? Suppose you are revising the financial statements of 2018-19, how it impacts 2019-20 financial statements. Okay, Nandi. And powers of CG. CG is having powers to frame the rules and regulations regarding this section, and NCLT approval. So certified copy of NCLT order should be filed with ROC within 30 days. On receipt of NCLT approval, conduct general meeting, and in general meeting take approval from the members regarding the revision of financial statements. That's it. Okay. So students, in our previous discussion, we completed about revision of financial statements. Revision of financial statements. So revision of financial statements takes place because of 2 reasons. One is when central government or ROC or statutory bodies. So any person, if they are opinion that financial statements are prepared in a fraudulent manner, or the affairs of the company are conducted in a fraudulent manner or mismanaged, when the affairs are mismanaged, they will file an application with NCLT. Now NCLT, after considering the recommendations of these departments, they will ask the company to reopen the financial statements. Point to be noted, NCLT can give authority to reopen the financial statements, books of accounts only up to preceding 8 financial years, but not beyond it. Of course, suppose central government under one occasion, it ordered company to maintain financial statements, books of accounts for the last 10 years. It ordered a company to maintain books of accounts for the last 10 years. Now NCLT can give authority to reopen the books of accounts related to preceding 10 financial years, but not beyond it. And question number 12, if board of directors are of opinion that the financial statements are not prepared in accordance to section 129, the board report is not prepared in accordance to section 134, now they can file an application with NCLT. NCLT will forward the application to CG as well as income tax department, income tax authorities. So yes, after considering the recommendations of these parties, representations of these parties, NCLT will allow the company to revise its books of accounts, to revise its financial statements. But point to be noted, only one time revision is allowed in a year. In a year, only one revision is allowed. And second thing, you can revise the financial statements related to preceding 3 years only, but not beyond it. So of course, the nature of the, what is the reason for the revision? Impact on the current year financial statements. So these both aspects you have to intimate to the members through notice calling for general meeting and explanatory statement. Now you have to take approval from the members. Next thing, you can proceed for corrections. You can proceed to the corrections. So already said all these points, and so remaining points is just a theoretical. Yes, first step, second step, third step, fourth step, like that. Next one, who can authenticate financial statements? Write a short note on enclosures or attachments to the financial statements. Sir, what point here you are asking? So who can sign the financial statements? Who can authenticate or who can sign the financial statements? Sima, many people got confused. Sir, chairperson, when chairperson will sign, when chairperson will not sign? I'll tell you. Sima, the financial statements including consolidated financial statements. So standalone financial statements plus consolidated financial statements shall approved by the first thing, they will be approved by board of directors by passing a board resolution. Later they will be signed by few people and they will be adopted in the general meeting. If members, by passing ordinary resolution, members will adopt the financial statements. Now the financial statements will be freezed. If members are having any doubts in the financial statements, they will ask the management, sir, why you prepared financial statements in accordance to this policy? Last year you followed FIFO, first in first out, for stock valuation, but this year you followed LIFO. Yes, we need reasons. We didn't understood the disclosures. At the time of disclosing the reasons, yes, it was found that management made a mistake. Now one more time, the revision of financial statements. See, this revision is different with when compared to above revisions, because when financial statements are finally adopted by the members, it is final. It is final. The financial statements gets freezed. So until members passing ordinary resolution, you are having an option to alter the financial statements. For example, like one subsequent event happened, subsequent events in completion of year, but before adoption of financial statements, a major plant and machinery was destroyed. In that case, you have to report the loss as a at least as a disclosure in the financial statement. Suppose you didn't put any disclosure of it, but one of the member came to know that one of the major plant and machinery on which the company is surviving was destroyed. There is no insurance policy on the machinery. Now, how company will overcome this situation? So these points are to be addressed through financial statements. If you didn't address through financial statements, if member knows about these matters, they will ask you, and you have to make changes of the financial statements. So okay, journey is different. Okay, now let's come back. So financial statements plus consolidated financial statements will be approved by board of directors. Now who will sign it, sir? At least by the following. Seema. First point, chairperson of the company if he is authorized by the board of directors or by two directors, out of which one should be the managing director. CEO if appointed, if company is having CEO, then CEO. CFO if he is appointed. CS if he is appointed. That means it is very clear. So whether your company authorized board of directors by way of board resolution, if they authorized chairperson to sign it, in that case who will sign the financial statements, sir? Chairperson plus CEO if appointed plus CFO if appointed plus company secretary. Company secretary will sign it. Suppose no such authorizations are, no authorization. In that case, so no chair, no authorization. In that case, who will authenticate the financial statements? Who will sign the financial statements? Two directors. One should be MD. Others, second one, other director. Next one, CEO if appointed, CFO if appointed, CS. So this is the structure. Is it clear? So next one, in case of OPC, financial statements can be signed by only one director, because OPC will contain only one director, minimum one director. See, for all companies, the maximum number of directors is 15, but minimum coming to OPC 1, private limited company 2, public company 3. So in case OPC is having single director signing the financial statements is correct, no problem. Next one, following are the documents attached with the financial statements. First one is auditor's report, board report containing details on the matter specified, including director's responsibility statement. Sir, what is this director responsibility statement? We will discuss in the next question, Sunday. Okay, Nandi. So, sir, what are the documents to be attached with financial statements? So, these are the documents. Consolidatedly, we can call them as annual reports. And the board report and every annexure has to be duly signed by them, by the above people. And a signed copy of every financial statement shall be issued, circulated, published along with a copy of each of all notes or documents, auditor's report, board report. The reason is, whenever you are calling for general meeting, notice for AGM, the notice shall be accompanied with explanatory statement plus financial statements, including consolidated financial statements, audit report and board report. Of course, financial statements includes notes to accounts also, audit report and board report. So audit report for standalone financial statements separate, for consolidated financial statements separate. Next one, what are the provisions relating to the board report, section 134 subsection 3 and subsection 4? So this is a simple chart regarding financial statements and board report authentication, and this is a simple chart for financial statements and board resolution, board reports authentication.
Hi students, I am Prakash, Academic Advisor, Masterminds. Just now you have watched a sample video of our rapid revision batches for CA Inter level. So we are very happy to say that we have developed this kind of rapid revision batches for all the subjects of CA Inter and IPCC level. And if you are interested, then you can directly purchase rapid revision batch videos of your choice from our app. So first of all, you please do install our Android app Masterminds online classes from Google Play Store. So after that, click the option store. After that, select the filter CA Inter RRB. CA Inter RRB. Yeah, here it is CA Inter RRB. So whatever the subject you want, you can purchase the same. And for each video there will be around 6 months of validity. That means whenever you purchase a course, there will be 6 months of validity. That means you can watch at any time before 6 months after the date of purchase. And we will be giving 1.5 views. That means each 1 hour of video you can watch for around 1.5 hours. And these videos can be watched directly in your mobile phone. And if you belong to iOS platform, then please do install an app called Class Plus and enter the organization code as MZGUN. I hope that you liked the sample video of RRB subject being uploaded by us, and please do subscribe this channel so that you can receive a notification whenever we add a new video, and also press the like button if you really like this video, and also press the bell icon so that you will receive a notification. And please do send a mail to my mail ID if at all you have any academic doubts or issues. My mail ID is mssprakash2012@gmail.com. So once you visit our app, not only RRB videos, you can find large number of other videos also. If you belong to CA Inter, then so in the filter section you can select the option CA Inter. Then all the videos related to CA Inter will be visible to you. So just now I have pressed the option of CA Inter. Now all these are the videos available for CA Inter. For example, if you want to watch the videos of a particular subject at CA Inter level, or a particular chapter at CA Inter level, either of regular batch or crash batch, all such videos are already available in the app. So the videos related to CA Inter regular batches, videos related to CA Inter crash batches are already available in this app. Either you can purchase a particular subject, or sometimes even some few chapters, or even the entire group you can purchase directly from the app. That is the convenience with which you can watch the videos by installing our app. All the best. Let's have a glimpse into the roots of the Masterminds. So Masterminds were established in 2002 and is undeniably the pioneer and the leader in MEC, CA and CMA coaching in India, with a lion's share of nearly 20,000 admissions per annum. It is an incredible initiative by 3 visionary edupreneurs. That is me, MSS Prakash, Chartered Accountant, my brother Mohan, my sister-in-law Radha, from the same family at a very young age, under the successful mentorship of our father, Mr. M. Sivaprasad. Within the shortest span, our presence have expanded to almost all major cities of AP and Telangana. We are humbled to say that very soon we want to expand to the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu also, so especially with the wishes and support of all our old students. We offer best quality services for MEC with integrated coaching for CRCMA Foundation. Exclusive MEC CEC coaching is also available. Regular class, study hours and revision exams, MMTS services for all the levels of CSCMA courses, And recently we launched a unique academic program called MEC Pro, aiming the students who aspire to pursue BBA, CLAT or MDA in future rather than CA, CMA courses, and we have received excellent response. So our students have achieved first rank for 47 times in various courses that we offer coaching. Till now, our students have bagged 977 All India ranks in all the stages of CA and CMA courses. So 98 All India ranks in a single attempt of CMA inter and final exams, and 180 All India ranks in CA CMA courses in 2019 and 20 alone. So 3 All India first ranks in the year 2020 alone. So right now we have around 150 batches of various courses in Guntur and all our branches together.